Live streaming is on.
Good morning, Bitcoin. Today is Tuesday, January 19th, 2021, and welcome to a very special episode of Remembering Bitcoin Conferences. My name is Thomas Hunt, and I'm joined by Mike Dupree. How's it going, Mike?
Hey, everybody. I'm doing great. Good to see you, Thomas.
So this was an idea. As everyone knows, we're kind of stuck at home still this year and, of course, most of last year. And we really would rather be outside, right? We'd rather be going to conferences, getting on airplanes, meeting people, doing interviews, all the stuff that we used to do. So we thought this show would be a good idea to look back and remember some Bitcoin conferences that we've been to. Now, Mike, I know you've been to some Bitcoin conferences. Which number was this for you? We're talking about the North American Bitcoin Conference in Miami in 2015. That was the first one?
Well, was it the first one or the second one? 2015 or 2014?
Well, I'm going to start with 15 because that's when I was there. It sounds like, were you there in 14 as well?
Yeah, I bought my first ever Bitcoin ATM machine there it was actually in December of 2013, I think, that year. It might have been the first week of January. I can't remember, but I guess we met then at the second one.
So before this conference we're talking about, the 2015 one, you went to the 2014 conference. And I know before that, you also went to the legendary San Jose conference in 2013.
Yes, absolutely.
So you've got quite a lot of experience going to Bitcoin conferences here, even more experience than me, I'd say.
Well, I mean, I think recently you've been a lot more involved in the conferences, but certainly changed a little bit. Those first conferences, I guess Miami was really the start of the large Bitcoin conferences. So yeah, I think that's probably, especially in 2015, the conference you're speaking about is certainly one of the first big, large Bitcoin conferences.
It did seem like a large Bitcoin conference. I know looking at my list before that, I'd been to Bitcoin in the Beltway, which while it was in Washington, D.C., it was run by a friend of mine, Jason King, and Megan Lords, who did all the work. And it was like a friend conference. It tried to look really big, but it was a lot smaller. I also went to DogeCon in San Francisco. And while that had a lot of the San Francisco startup hubbub and all the kinds of fancy people, it was really kind of a last minute single day conference, ended really quickly. Not a lot of people traveled to go to.
I got into that one at all, but yeah, I was never really big in the Doji stuff. There were so many conferences around this time period and things to do that it wasn't really, I was too busy.
Well, at the time, it wasn't even so much about Dogecoin. It was just about meeting any of these crazy Bitcoiners. Because I know at DogeCon, I got to meet Andreas Antonopoulos, Davi Barker, a lot of the people I'd been doing videos with. Suddenly, there we were in the real life. And in a lot of ways, the Miami conference was a lot like that too. As you'll see, we're going to show some pictures here in a little bit. It was my first time meeting a lot of the people I'd worked with, like Will Pangman. I met Mike Dupree at that conference. A lot of other people that you just see on the internet, and then all of a sudden you go out to a conference, and there they are.
I mean, back in the 2015 conference, in 2014, we were staying with a bunch of the EasyBit guys at one of the Marriotts that just opened there, and it was only like a third open. So they just reconstructed, and we needed like 6 rooms or something. And we showed up, and they were kind of like, "We're not really ready. We're not really open." Like they found us some beer and stuff, and made us happy. But the year that you were there, that you're talking about in 2015, I was staying with the BitAccess guys, and they had like an apartment, and it was an Airbnb, and there was about 20 of us. Maybe I'm exaggerating, but there was people sleeping, like 4 or 5 people in each room on the floor and on every couch and on every bed. And we had to check out, and the guy comes and he says, "Hey, you guys got to check out." And we're like, "Oh shit, man, he's going to be mad. There's so many people here." He didn't say anything about that, but he claimed that we moved some dresser like across the apartment to the other end of the apartment. And he's like, "No, you guys move this dresser. You've got to move it back." We're like, "No, dude." But yeah. So in 2015, I was staying with the BitAccess guys. So that was an especially fun year.
That's funny. I had a similar situation in Malta at an Airbnb once, where the furniture was just arranged wrong. Like it was in the middle of the room and it blocked all the flow. And I kind of spun around one of the couches, shoved it against the wall, and it felt like a completely different apartment. Like it was huge and open and wonderful. And of course, I had to leave my furniture changes for the guy, and the guy freaked out. You moved my couch. Oh my God, 15 minutes on what I'm going to do. So it is funny with people and their furniture.
We don't think we moved it, but they were very certain of it. So we nobody knew, but there was so many people there, and I guarantee you nobody was like, let's move this dresser around. It was super heavy too.
All right, so Mike, make sure that you're on mic. We're hearing that you're a little quiet, so let's just try to get Mike a little louder.
Okay, I'll lean forward a little bit here.
That sounds loud. I don't know. They'll let us know in the chat. We're just trying to make sure that
it's a little bit better. We're still new I just moved apartments, so we're still testing my new little studio setup here. So nothing's perfect, but any feedback's appreciated.
So you were saying you came in with a bit access, guys. It's funny. We all had connections to people to get us there. Looking at my list of what I did, I was sponsored to go to this conference by Lazycoin. Has anyone ever heard of Lazycoin? It was an exchange at the time in the UK, and basically the guy was just a really nice guy. I was trying to raise money at the time, send Mad Bitcoins to Miami, and it wasn't working very well. And he came through and he said, hey, I'll get you a plane ticket. I'll get you a hotel room, give you a couple $100 for food and whatever. And mainly my goal at that point was to try to go to a conference without spending money that I didn't have.
You have mastered that art these days.
That's right.
When Thomas Hunt came to Barcelona, he was staying at our place for about 3 months, going to every single conference he could get into. And
I don't even bother arranging with him beforehand. I just show up with all my cameras, and I'm like, do you want me to shoot, at your conference?
I was actually surprised how much leniency you get just showing up with cameras and stuff and trying to interview people. You would think they'd have a problem with it, but I've seen him like in Malta, I think. He's like, yeah, I'm going to take the gear over there, just see. And like he walked in and they're like, oh, why don't you have a press pass? Like, here you go. It's like, what? Okay.
Usually by the second day of a conference, I should be upgraded to the VIP or whatever they have by then. Because really,
in the corner of the basement.
I think of it as a force multiplier when we go to conferences. Like you have the existing conference, then you have the conference plus Mad Bitcoins. And it just makes the conference better is what I've found. So here's a little graphic we had that Fanit put together of Miami Vice, Crockett and Tubbs. You can see Mad Bitcoins there on the left. I look so young. But so yeah, I was down there with Lazycoin, and I was sharing a room with Paul, and I forget the guy's name from Airbits.
Yeah. And hey, great guys.
Really, yeah, great guys. And it was just to show you, we were very much on a threadbare budget. We were living cheap at the time, as we're living cheap now. But I've got some graphics and stuff ready. So this is the North American Bitcoin Conference run by Mo Levin. Always hear good things about Mo. I don't think I've ever
right now or January 28th and 29th. So next week.
They did an online conference. Yeah, I guess it's coming up next week. So everyone should check it out. Going with the online ways these days. It's too unsafe to travel and such. But like Mike said, this is a large scale Bitcoin conference. You can tell because it doesn't just say Miami Bitcoin Conference like I think of it. They call themselves the North American Bitcoin Conference. So it is that much bigger than all the other conferences. But first, we want to show you
stuff going on in Miami Beach too. So it's always even if you're not just there to see all the average talks and things, man, Miami Beach is always fun with the Bitcoiners.
Well, definitely. We need to talk about Miami Beach and how it's this weird strip of land out there, and also how it's kind of sadly the only part of Miami I saw. Or maybe that's a good thing. I just kind of came in and came out, just saw the best they had. But first, I want to watch this little introduction video that I made as Mad Bitcoins back in the day. It's got a little bit of music, and it's about 2 minutes. So let's check that out. This is Mad Bitcoins in Miami 2015. And if you're just showing up in the chat, be sure to give us a thumbs up and a share. Say hello in the chat. What's your name? Have you been to a Bitcoin conference? If you could go to any Bitcoin conference, which one would you go to? Let us know in the chat. Let's check out this 2-minute intro video from Mad Bitcoins.
I remember the first year BitPay had a Ferrari or whatever parked out in front the whole time. I think a Lamborghini, actually, one of the two.
There we go. See, the thing is, people call me smart, but I'm surprisingly ignorant about a lot of things relating to computer hardware, like describe a roadmap for the industry, the Bitcoin industry, specifically this idea of crypto 2.0, aka Bitcoin 2.0, aka blockchain 2.0, this idea that it's not just about the currency, it's I use a program much more
Josie, the College Crypto Network guys, I think, were hanging out.
Good morning, Bitcoins. Welcome to Mad. And there it is, a very sparsely attended cryptocurrency conference. You could even see, of course, while I was filming that was probably
9 a.m. or some unnormal hour to be there. I don't think it was that sparsely attended.
Well, I think everyone was in the speech because they were doing the Vitalik speech. I think it was around the same time. You could even see a little clip of Vitalik in there.
I don't remember Miami conferences ever being short on people. There was always it seemed like a flood of people.
Well, I mean, if you look at the video, and I remember being there, it was actually sparsely attended. Some very early companies and such. Wasn't much like the big.
We lost you there.
Streaming is on.
Lost you there for a moment.
Yeah, I pushed the back button on the wrong browser.
Oh,
that's gonna.
Well, yeah, I saw where you were walking through there, though. That's where Bitmain had their table set up, and the College Crypto Network guys had their stuff set up.
Yeah, let's go ahead and go through the video, and let's talk a little bit more about what happened at this conference. So, is it this beautiful Fillmore auditorium there? You can see it's Art Deco on the outside. They had a lot of Grateful Dead concerts on the inside. Very cool concert venue. I was really impressed with the concert photos on the wall. Now, here's the first thing I want to talk about that I think is kind of fun. This is a company called Paybase. It had a coin called Paycoin. I don't think anyone remembers Paycoin, but this was basically the Paycoin Conference. Paycoin had sponsored the conference. They had Paybase. They also had a Paycoin-based lending platform that they were promoting at the same time. And I remember specifically at one of the parties, Paycoin had sponsored, they had all these lights on the side of a building, like projections of names, and the Miami Bitcoin Conference was all
their hotel.
Yeah, and Paybase had paid more to have their logo on there longer than the convention. So all the convention stuff went off. Paybase still had their sign up. They had another video. I think there's a shot of
chicks in the VIP after party showing off ATMs, actually, but I never see them again after that.
A Paybase ATM. See, that's the thing. People don't realize how big this Paycoin was. Hashbase, Hashcoin. You can even see in the picture that I have up on my screen. You can see the gift bags full of wonderful Paybase swag that I still have, and I even have pictures of. We're going to show you later. But yeah, Paybase was huge at the time. Paybase had claimed that their coin would never go below $20 a coin artificially. They claimed there was a floor there. They claimed that, I don't know, big buyers were going to come in and save you if someone shorted it below 20. Obviously, you know that for every buyer like that, there's a bigger buyer out there. And there was even a thing where the CEO or whatever he was of Paybase was there. I think his name was Josh Garza. And he was actually on the floor of the convention, and he had 2 gigantic bodyguards. There had been threats against his family. So it was pretty crazy stuff.
He lived in San Francisco, right? I think I've met him a few times, but I can't remember. This is so long ago.
I don't know. I just know that the Paycoin went below $20. It didn't work out. So
Maybe they all sold it at 30, and that's why they closed up.
but I still have lots of swag, so it's pretty good. Let's look at this. So you can see a lot of these people are the business people. They're paid to be here. They're at the convention. They're not going to the speeches. This is something interesting that we're into now, where you don't go to the speeches and you just go to the hallway con, and that the hallway con is generally the better con. So let's see. I'm looking at these things. I'm remembering a couple more things. I remember that I met Roger Ver at this conference, but there was something different about him. Mike, do you remember what was different about Roger at this conference?
Was he walking around with a suitcase handcuffed to his hand? Is that what you're talking about?
He normally is, and I've seen that. It's very odd and also very obvious. I wouldn't do that. But no, this time Roger was there in a telepresence device. He was on an iPad, on a stick, on some little wheelies rolling around the convention, and that's the first
like
time.
At CES too.
Yeah. I don't think at the time, again, his personal issue, whatever he's got aside, but I don't think Roger was allowed in the country. He was trying to become an immigrant to St. Kitts, and there were some ups and downs, and he renounced his U.S. citizenship, which
they got mad at him. He's still a St. Kitts resident. I saw him down in St. Kitts a couple of years ago. He's still hanging out down there.
And apparently now he can come in the U.S. or he gets a deal for just conferences or some kind of deal. But at the time, it was really neat to meet Roger, even though he was a telepresence machine. He was a wheelie boy. It was pretty weird. But that was a neat thing that happened at this conference. As I'm looking back at this video, it's reminding me. Here's some early Bitcoin t-shirt sellers. They probably did very well if they held their Bitcoin. But that's always the if. See over here, you can see Factum in the background there. That was a big company at the time. They were going to store information on the blockchain.
Those guys are still around. I don't think Factum's done anything lately, but some of their guys are still around.
The last I'd heard, they they became a pretty big startup. They were spending a lot of money there, but that's the startup game. You got to spend that money. And then I think at a certain point that money ran out and they didn't get a new round. I heard a couple of the original guys maybe had taken it over. They were going to try to keep it running. It's so sad and it's so funny, but it is kind of the way these startups go. Instead of running the company unsuccessfully for like 10, 12 years, like this company or whatever, they run it really hard for like a year and a half. And if it doesn't work in the year and a half, that's it. They burnt all the money. It's gone. No one ever thinks, hey, we could just keep the servers on, or maybe this software would run without human intervention. But I guess there's always problems with software and reasons to keep the staff on. So strange to see a lot of these companies go, so many of them.
I think the Factum guys actually sponsored one of the big after parties there. I can remember hanging out with them a bit. They seem like good guys, but I never fully understand exactly what they were doing. I mean, I understand what they're building, but it was just always too convoluted for me.
It's all about putting that data in the blockchain. Maybe another idea that was ahead of its time. Who knows? It could come around later. Here's another one of the booths areas. You can see how they took the kind of concert hall and converted it into a convention with lots of booths everywhere. People hanging out.
Man, it looks so empty, but I only went to the conference very little. But I thought there were more people in there. There were certainly more people at the parties and stuff around the Bitcoin conference that I'm seeing in the actual halls.
And then here's the Vitalik speech.
Goes down. He couldn't get into the Clevelander. That's where they threw the big after party because he was still only 18 or 19, and you have to be 21 to go in a bar and after like 10 p.m. or something. So we had to have a big lecture with Anthony and everyone to talk them into letting Vitalik in and promise they could have a security guard with them, that he wouldn't drink or anything like that.
See, that's a hilarious story. Nobody knows that. And it was funny.
That night, man, they wouldn't let him in.
And he looks underage too. He's a young looking kid. But yeah, here's an empty room to see Vitalik Buterin, and he was talking about crypto 2.0. It's interesting, the little audio clip. You can hear him say that he's smart about computer geek things, but not about other things. And that's been very true for Vitalik for a long time. But it's interesting to see when you become a billionaire and a hero to all these people, you just start giving out your opinions on other things too and seeing what
Do you
happens.
have that clip? Are you going to play it?
Yeah, I mean, we played it right here, but let's see. We'll go back just a little bit, hear what Vitalik was saying. We only have the part from the Mad Bitcoins cut up thing.
There we go. See, the thing is, people call me smart, but I'm surprisingly ignorant about a lot of things relating to computer hardware, like describe a roadmap for the industry, the Bitcoin industry, specifically this idea of crypto 2.0, aka Bitcoin 2.0, aka blockchain 2.0, this idea that it's not just about the currency,
It's not
Yeah.
just another currency.
It's not just a global currency, yeah. Or did he say another currency?
I'm not sure, but yeah. And there's one of the cool Grateful Dead type posters from the wall. I tried to highlight these in my video. Bob Weir, and then this was
16 too.
Was that Mike?
Did you go 2016 also?
No, I think this is the only one I went to in Miami.
And it got a lot bigger after that. A lot bigger.
That's what's interesting. Is it's interesting to have kind of these videos, these snapshots, to remember the early days of Bitcoin conferences. Because yeah, you really could kind of just get in and see it. This was an interesting shot here. This is called Btclend.org. And I remember I was specifically interested in this because I had friends that worked at BTC Jam, and they were all about lending Bitcoin. And later I would work there too. But yeah, this was a Paycoin lending site. So just to let you know, like how big the Paycoin thing was, not only did they have all the swag, sponsorships, everything, they had two booths, one for Paybase, which was like their Coinbase for Paycoin, and one for this BTC Lend. So I just thought it was such a big deal, so interesting. And then to have something like Paycoin just completely erased. Like people don't even remember it as like a top 10 scam. They're like completely erased. So it was interesting to see at this conference. And again, you can, these booths make you seem really official, like you're a real company and everything, but really you can just buy these booths from the conference. You just come with your little backdrop and your little setup and you just do it. And you don't really have to have qualifications.
Yeah, definitely.
So let's see what else is happening in this video. I think we're almost through our little rewind walkthrough. There's a Bitcoin shirt. It's pretty neat. They have one that's the Bitcoin wizard there. They probably stole it. That's kind of interesting. Here it's a Bitcoin Bowl St. Petersburg shirt in the backwards. Everyone's probably... Go ahead, Mike.
We had ATMs there. We put the ATMs for the Bitcoin Bowl in St. Petersburg.
Nice. It was another event that I think sadly people don't remember anymore, but Bitcoin under BitPay sponsored a college football game, one of the bowl games, end of the year, major games. And instead of calling it the BitPay Bowl, it probably would have been a better idea. They called it the Bitcoin Bowl. And they were advertising more generic, the idea of Bitcoin. They did have a couple of 30-second spots for BitPay in there. They were incredible, great commercials. Sadly, I think they only aired once. We'd have to go back to our football show or something, see if we have a clip of them, or maybe they have more
at Denver Bitcoin Center. And when they were putting on the Bitcoin Bowl, some of the guys down there asked if we could bring ATMs. So we piled 4 Bitcoin ATMs that we had storage there in Denver in the back of a pickup truck, and they drove across the country. I think it was wintertime. It took them like a week because of the snow and everything, and the truck kept breaking down. And finally they got out there and they got the ATMs placed and everything. And I think we had 4 or 5 of them. I can't remember exactly. And nobody really used them. I mean, like who's going to come to the Bitcoin Bowl and like, you're not going to be like, oh, I'm at the Bitcoin Bowl, let me put 10 grand into an ATM. No, I mean, like, so it was a novel idea. It was a cool concept, but it didn't really pay out in the end for us at all. There was no transactions, basically.
Sadly, I think that was the way for much of the Bitcoin Bowl. I know they had a program where they went door to door to restaurants, and they convinced a series of restaurants to take the Bitcoin, and they gave them tablets and all the things that we always talk about. We're like, I wish someone would do that. I wish someone with a big company.
I think these days it'd work better. Back then, it was just a little bit too early. There wasn't enough public adoption. There just wasn't enough public support. I think even in 2015, you were still, you get on an airplane and the guy sitting next to you would be like, yeah, I work in Bitcoin, I'm going to a conference. And they were still, if they heard of Bitcoin, it was because Silk Road just got shut down. And, that was, they were like, oh, you're one of those guys or something, so I think it's very different now. I think nowadays that people are much more interested in being able to accept Bitcoin and being part of the community, especially with the way that the dollar is going and the markets are all over the place too. I mean, I think people are really starting to look at Bitcoin, and not just in countries where you absolutely need it, but also in countries like America, where we're used to just looking at dollars. So I think they'd have better luck if they'd had that approach and hit the market hard today. I know there's other companies doing that though. I mean, you go especially to some of these e-gaming conferences and such, and payments in Bitcoin have just gone through the roof.
It was very early. It was, everyone would say it's drug money. And yeah, it was very much, they didn't have the other side of it. They didn't have any customers to come in and eat at these now Bitcoined restaurants. And it was very sad. They didn't even organize a thing where they should eat at this one all as a group on Monday and eat at this one all at a group on Tuesday. At least they'd get a chance to use those tablets. Sadly, much of the Bitcoin retail work done in the early days, like you said, Mike, was just too early. They set up the tablets. They had the signs and the stickers. They had little maps.
The ATMs too, where we would have an ATM someplace for a couple of years, and 20 people per day. Our average these days is like 25 people a day using a machine. But back then, maybe 20 or 15 people a day were using these machines that were coming in. They were waiting sometimes. If you want to withdraw more than, I don't know how many euro exactly, it depends on what country or state you're in. But you want to withdraw a few $100, you might have to wait 30 minutes for a confirmation. So we had people who'd literally just pull up a chair in the restaurant and fucking sit there and wait for their ATM transaction to clear, but they wouldn't buy 1 cent, even though the owner of the restaurant loved Bitcoin. And I'm talking about our first location, Warriors Thai Food in Amsterdam and Rosengraat. And he was like, "Yeah, Mike, like we've had maybe in 6 months, 500 people come in and use the machine, maybe more, but I don't think one of them has even bought a drink or a food or anything." And we accept Bitcoin, and I would be different about that. I know personally, anytime I see somebody that accepts Bitcoin, I try and support them, even if it's just buying a beer, buying a glass of water, or a bottle of water or whatever, just because they accept it and they want to talk about it and such. But I think we're going to see change.
The other side of that is that the Bitcoin people, like they're saying in the chat, I mean, they're saying about something else, but Bitcoin people are a little autistic. They're a little computer geek like. They probably didn't make the connection that if you want the ATM to stay in the shop, you need to support the shop. And it seems like a no-brainer.
We just pay the shops more now.
There you go. So it doesn't matter.
They got over it. Yeah. I mean, in general, if you have to remember that a lot of the people that are on a daily basis using our machines, they're not necessarily crypto experts. They have a certain application for Bitcoin. It could be that they're trying to post an advertisement on a website, like Backpage or whatever, that doesn't take credit cards anymore. It could be whatever. So these people aren't coming to us and saying, "Hey man, we need to use your machine because we're so interested in Bitcoin." They're like, "Man, like they stopped taking Visa and I have to use this Bitcoin thing. And they told me to come here and I don't know how it works. And it's confusing." And, they're not really like thinking like, "Oh, Bitcoin's revolutionizing the world." Their introduction to Bitcoin is being forced to use it because whatever other payment processors, these websites they're using, no longer could be processed due to high risk or fraud or whatever else. So, I mean, it's kind of a bad for the like the average Bitcoin nerd that's going to conferences all the time and stuff. He's not going to an ATM that often. And, so yeah, I would like to think that if I'm in a location that takes Bitcoin, I'll take the extra 10 minutes to pay with Bitcoin instead of with my credit card, even though I'd rather keep Bitcoin and use my credit. But at least I pay at the end of the month that way. But
We had very much the same thing in San Francisco. We had a Bitcoin ATM at Nakamoto's, the little store that Purse ran, where we sold Bitcoin T-shirts and stuff like that.
yeah, I think my machine.
I think it
Machines there. The big Genesis one's mine, and that one's actually currently on the stolen. So if anybody's seen that, let me know.
I'll keep an eye out. But it was funny because we'd go down to the shop and we'd talk to the other people who worked at the shop, and they'd say, "Hey, you Bitcoin people are fine. You computer nerds, whatever, you come through, you're quiet, you're polite, but you're not the people that use the ATM. You're not the people that use the machine." And it turned out the machine was kind of in the Mission District in San Francisco. It's not the nicest neighborhood, and ladies of the evening would come in to use the machine.
Okay, but I don't think we should discriminate. I think the fact is that we have a revolutionary new banking system here, and we have to understand that some of the people that are forced into our You know, in the early days when it wasn't so largely adopted, it wasn't so easy to just go in Fidelity and buy Bitcoin or to go to PayPal and buy Bitcoin. It was, you know, people were forced to use Bitcoin out of necessity. And some of these people were irritated because, you know, they didn't want to learn something new. And it's complicated, man. And it's, I mean, you've been around long enough. I'm sure that there's some lost Bitcoins in your history too, man. Even us nerds or whatever you want to call it, we still aren't perfect all of the time. So, I mean, I can understand why some people would be irritated being forced to learn our currency out of necessity instead of out of like awe for it and being like, oh my God, this is such a cool technology. Some people are never going to understand that. And that's fine.
It was even better at the time because while I think the ladies probably didn't understand Bitcoin or what they were doing, their pimps definitely knew what they were doing. And while I don't have any firsthand experience of this, I think that they were sending the ladies in with their IDs so you could KYC the ladies and they'd have the tax problem later. And the pimps were getting this beautiful, clean Bitcoin. So I think they understood it very well at the time.
I can't speak of this for the from the perspective from EasyBit, but I can speak from when we had an ATM at Denver Bitcoin Center, and we'd see the clientele, and when you know a group of girls would come in that were obviously they needed exactly $15 or $18 or whatever it is for the it used to be Craigslist and then it was Backpage ads. What we found is that these girls were not giving money to pimps or something. They were just getting €20 or $20 or whatever so that they could post their ad for the evening. So they weren't being paid in Bitcoin and they weren't paying anyone in Bitcoin. They were only paying to list their advertisement in Bitcoin on the Backpage website. So we didn't see, like, I don't think it's as corrupt as you think. Where I'm sure that the pimps aren't treating their prostitutes well and all that kind of stuff. However, from what I saw, the girls were mainly sending it directly to Backpage, and one of the big problems was that Backpage required 6 confirmations. So, you know, here you got this girl who just wants to pay the fucking $20 so that she can, you know, make a little money to feed her kids or whatever tonight. And she's waiting and waiting. And, she, you know, there's all these nerds in the back of Denver Bitcoin Center. And she keeps banging on the door. She's like, hey, guys, like, where's my Bitcoin? Where's my Bitcoin? Like, don't worry. You need 6 confirmations. It's coming. It's coming. It'll be, you know, wouldn't you be a little irritated if you went in the United States to an ATM and you put money into it and you were like, okay, now I've paid my phone bill or whatever. And like 3 hours later, because of some weird nerds talking about weird confirmations or some bullshit, you still couldn't get your like you're looking on you're trying to run a business here, you know, you're a little self-employed businesswoman or whatever, and you're trying to get your ad on there to make money, feed your kids. And all it's like, oh yeah, the nerds say these confirmations are doing that, and I can understand why some people. Let's be honest, it was not in the early days, especially that easy of a currency or of a store of value to use. It was it's a lot easier now.
It's funny they would have been much happier with the Lightning Network because I've been trying out the Lightning Network the last couple of days, doing little demos and stuff, and it works the way that you wanted Bitcoin to work back then. You scan the QR code, you send it, ding, it's done. Like it really is that fast.
Some random issues with the people that they have as clientele on Backpages must have had some issues, but in general, for like under a 20 or 50 or $100 transaction, you really don't need to wait for 6 confirmations to make sure you could just ban the person's account or whatever if they, I don't know, but they must have had some bad experience, but you really don't need 6 confirmations. I'm all for Lightning networks and such. I think that it's a tricky situation. It's really cool technology, but again, you're adding one extra step of difficulty for people who are novices. And when someone comes to my ATM, for example, I don't want when they call in and they're like, all right, well, I'm buying this whatever online. Let's just say that they're buying a rug that's coming from Italy or something. And it's $50 to send a bank wire and all this and that. And they've got these Bitcoins. So they want to buy a rug and they're trying to send it or whatever. I don't want to get into explaining you know, what Lightning is and how it works and being responsible for potential third parties that could potentially cause an issue. So, I mean, yeah, I'm all for having these secondary networks and such, but we're not making it any easier for the average consumer, which is what we need. We don't need more nerds anymore. We need the general public to be Bitcoin.
Well, and I do like applications like Strike, the new Lightning app that makes it very easy to buy Lightning, and you barely know that you're even using the Lightning network. It just seems like you're paying an invoice and the money comes out of your account. and that's it. You're done. So more and more, I think that's going to be the way. But yes, it was funny to try to sell these people the early Bitcoin. And like you were saying with Backpage, I think a friend of mine at the time had a pretty sweet deal where he was training those girls in how to Bitcoin, and he would, charge them a couple $100. The money would go the other direction for once, and he would train them how to use Bitcoin so they could pay Backpage and those other services.
Most of the girls, I mean, we taught probably, I don't know, but there was sometimes they come in groups and stuff. And over the 2 or 3 years we had Denver Bitcoin Center, we probably taught hundreds of girls how to use Bitcoin. But in general, like they're there for a half hour or whatever. And of course they're all super hot. And, like it's not exactly the best educational environment when they just need something. And like you got 15 guys sitting there just like, oh, what's woman doing in Bitcoin Center? Are you lost?
That was absolutely the way.
At first, we had no idea what was going on, and we were just like, "All right, well, this is pretty cool. So you guys want to join?" And then we figured it out. Like,
we did it. Bitcoin's really popular. Oh, maybe not. Well, let's see what else happened on this little short video. You can see there's the Airbits booth. They had a very nice booth. They have a very cool Bitcoin wallet. It's called Edge now.
Yeah, Paul Sway spoke at Denver Bitcoin Center quite a few times. He's a great guy. That might be him in the video. I can't really see clearly.
That's probably Paul. I know on that other thing we showed from the next week's conference, the online conference, looked like Paul's going to speak at the online conference. So check out there. And it's pretty neat. You could just go right up to the booth, talk to the CEO of the company. They did very well selling hot dogs. There's Mycelium.
Competition for the Airbits there, yeah.
Yeah, an epic, legendary Bitcoin wallet, one of the first early ones.
I can't remember the guy's name anymore.
Dima or Raja?
Raja, yeah. Rasa. Yeah.
Very cool, guys.
We always recommended Airbits for EasyBit because Mycelium had like a local trading feature in there that could potentially undercut our ATM sales. So we didn't want to recommend something that had an alternative way to buy Bitcoin. But of course, Edge Wallet has that as well. You can see also the co-founder there in the background of Denver Bitcoin Center, Yoshi Gato, right behind the Bitcoin sign.
Very cool. And I know one of the neat things about Airbits is it had a username and a password. So for normal users, this was a lot easier. They wouldn't lose their Bitcoin if they lost everything. Another neat thing about Mycelium, I think it was maybe a year before this at a conference in Amsterdam, they had Bitcoin awards, and Mad Bitcoins and Mycelium were both nominated for most creative Bitcoiners, but instead some documentary that no one remembers won the award. So that was fun. And then, of course, on the sad side, we wouldn't be complete if we didn't talk about the Mycelium ICO or whatever it was. What I've heard is that they raised a lot of money, and then it turned out that they had a lot of debt, and they used the money to pay the debt, and then they were never able to use the money to make the new features and make the better wallet and all the things that people wanted and that they essentially paid for. And it didn't work out. So
they're still around though, aren't they?
I don't think so.
I think they are, yeah.
I don't. You can go look it up, Mike, but I don't think they came back from that. So I think if you look at them, you're just going to find a lot of people saying, "Where's my money? Where's my money?"
They didn't have keys with Mycelium, I don't think.
Well, no, but they want the money they invested in the ICO that didn't work. So it's always dangerous when you do an ICO. Here's one called CureCoin. They might still be around. I know I did an interview with those guys later on. Might show you parts of that. And there you can barely see her, but that's Perianne Boring. She was there just starting her congressional research thing, or whatever it's called, it's called the CDC, Center for Digital Currency.
Williams' website's still at least online and stuff, and they said they have a wallet and that they're expecting to have a massive upgrade soon. But it looks like it's still online. You can still log in and stuff. Doesn't look.
Good luck with that, man. You can go read about the ICO if you want.
It says 2011 to 2021, so they're still.
Yeah.
It's in the last 2 weeks.
Here's the best part about Miami is that after the conference, I went down to the beach, and it was right there. You could walk from the convention to the beach. It's pretty cool stuff out there in Miami. Let's see what else we've got. This was Mad Bitcoins Good Morning Bitcoins reaction shot montage. Do you want to watch this, Mike?
Sure. Let's see what you got.
Okay, so I was in the conference hall. I was all by myself. I was setting up my own camera. I was doing my own microphone. Half the interviews didn't work because the microphone didn't get plugged in properly or something.
Changed in 10 years or whatever.
Back in those early days. But one of the things I did is I would say, "Good morning, Bitcoins," really loud so the whole room could hear me. Because I also had to do my own promotions. So I had to walk up to these things, ask these people who they were, see if they'd interview with the weird Mad Bitcoins guy, then become the weird Mad Bitcoins guy and interview them. So it was like a whole thing. So I cut these together as a reaction shot. You can see each person look over and look at me like I'm crazy. So it's kind of fun. But again, you got to be in on it. We're laughing at it because we know it's funny. So here we go. Good morning, Mad Bitcoins. Reaction shots from 2015, the Miami Bitcoin Conference.
Good morning, Bitcoins. Welcome to Mad
Loud.
Bitcoins. Good morning, Bitcoins. I'm Mad Bitcoins, and I'm still in Miami. Good morning, Bitcoins, and welcome to Mad Bitcoins. We're live. Good morning, Bitcoins. I'm
Double
Mad
take,
Bitcoins.
every single
Still,
one.
Good morning, Bitcoins.
Look at the camera, like camera's gonna
Good
help
morning,
them.
Bitcoins. I'm Mad Bitcoins. Good morning,
They look at the camera or they look at
Bitcoins.
me?
I'm Mad Bitcoins. Good morning, Bitcoins.
Like, what?
Good morning, Bitcoins. I'm Mad
Laughing.
Bitcoins. Good morning, Bitcoins. This is Mad Bitcoins live. Good morning, Bitcoins. This is Mad Bitcoins live. Good morning, Bitcoins. This is Mad Bitcoins. Good morning, Bitcoins. This is Mad Bitcoins live from the Miami Bitcoin Conference. Good morning, Bitcoins. Good morning, Bitcoins. This is Mad Bitcoins live from the Miami. Good morning, Bitcoins. This is Mad. Good morning, Bitcoins. This is Mad Bitcoins live from. Good morning, Bitcoins. This is Mad Bitcoins
So,
live from the. Good morning,
goes on a little
Bitcoins.
long,
This
I
is
guess.
Mad Bitcoins
I
live.
don't know. I'm going to like wake
Good
up
morning,
with
Bitcoins. This is Mad.
Said Vietnam,
morning,
that guy got
Bitcoins.
it.
This is Mad Bitcoin. Good morning, Bitcoins. This is Mad Bitcoins. We're
All right.
There it is. So I interviewed everybody at this conference. It was pretty fun. I just went right down the row. Anybody that would talk to me. Let's see. I don't know if we want to watch any of these. They're pretty old. Let's see, Mike. You want to go to pictures? I feel like I'm done with videos for right now.
Yeah. No
All
more
right. So
good.
here we go. These are not very well prepared pictures from the 2015 Bitcoin conference in Miami. Let's see what it was like.
Those mugs.
Here's the pre-conference setup at the hotel, and then here is the pre-conference itself. Oh boy!
I didn't even know there was an official hotel.
So this is an interesting video right there. You can't really see her again. This is my old iPhone. Apologies for my 2015 inexpensive iPhone. That's Tony Lane right there, a legendary Bitcoiner. She made a speech at the conference. You can't really tell who anyone else is. It's a little too blurry. But there it was early at the conference. This is the pre-party. Here we are. I'm being driven into Miami Beach by taxi. Like I said, I only really saw Miami Beach. I don't know that I ever went to Miami. So it's really strange. There's kind of a little thin isthmus of land out there where they put all the fancy hotels and all the rich people. So that's where the conference was, and that's where we hung out. So here's one of the parties at the Bitcoin conference. This is the first night at the Clevelander, like Mike says. And it's going pretty off, but they also had a lot of normal people that they let in. They put the Bitcoiners in like a little space. You can see Will right there. Some of the early people. Here's another one. Damn it. Sorry. Hurts me too, headphones people. It's kind of neat. That's an ESPN Studios right there. People dancing and stuff. This is also, they had $15 drinks at the Clevelander. They were just normal drinks, but they were $15 and you had to put the tip in on top of that. I think I bought one and then I was like, forget this. I'm never buying another drink in Miami.
10 bottles of vodka there. Like, I can't even remember, but it was definitely thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars worth of Bitcoin. If I had not showed up there, I'd probably have like an extra $1 million worth of Bitcoin right now.
In drinks alone. And here's a hand carved sign that Tim Tasham, I think that's his name, Tim brought. And this was from Africa.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
carved by Africans. And he also had this $10 trillion Zimbabwe note. This was back in the early days before these became all popular and everybody had them. So very cool stuff. Let's see what this little walk around video is. More people at the party. There's Will. Other people look kind of familiar. But yeah, there we are at the Clevelander. Here's a old tweet from Mad Bitcoins back when I had 9,500 followers. It says, all of South Beach, Miami thinks Bitcoin is the shit. Where is your company? So it's fun. And you can see some people posing right there. Maybe Bitcoiners, tough to say. I'll turn the volume down before I start the video this time. It's crazy loud there at the Clevelander. All these people. Hey, there's Mike Dupree. There it is.
Yeah.
First shot of Mike Dupree there, sneaking in the background on the phone. Very cool.
Very cool. Probably try to get. No, never mind.
And there he is, Mike Dupree with the bottle service. Lisa Chang. She used to run a Bitcoin company that gets more blurry. Look at this. This is a realistic vision of Dupree there. I think this is the first time I met Dupree, and also the first time I had bottle service. It wasn't mine. I think it was Anthony DeOrios. Thanks, Anthony. A shout out. And no, I learned a lot of things about bottle service. I learned that well, first of all, I shouldn't have bottle service, and that I shouldn't pour my own drinks. That's a big one. No. And then I probably shouldn't let other people pour my own drinks, because generally just my elbow just goes like this. So yeah, I drank way too much at bottle service. I don't think I drank for the rest of the conference.
If you look really closely in this photo, that I'm actually drinking a bottle of water.
Bottle of water. Yes. Water.
Bottle of water in my hand. I'm just standing in front of the vodka, but I think I'm holding a water.
So there we are at the Clevelander at the party. There's Will Pangman. Used to be on the Bitcoin group shows with us here. From Wisconsin. He was pretty excited to be in Miami. Oh, and look, here we go. A little bit the next day. I think that's Jonathan Chester from Bitwage. Shout out to Bitwage. They gave Mad Bitcoins here a pass to the convention. So thanks to Bitwage for sponsoring my pass to the convention. Bitwage is a pretty cool company. They're still around now. You can get part of your Bitcoin or part of your salary paid in Bitcoin. The way that salaries work is some goes to checking, some goes to savings, and they can set it up so that the ones that go to savings would go to Bitcoin and they'd send it to your account. So pretty cool stuff. Go, Mike, you're going to say something about Bitwage? Or?
I like those guys. Really good guys. They were at a bunch of conferences.
Nice. So yeah, there's Miami Beach. We got to go see it kind of the next day. Just walked down there. Just incredible. Right nearby the conference. Really made you not want to go to the conference when you could just be hanging out here. It's always fun. People do all this work to have the conference at an interesting place, and then you never go to the interesting place. So this is our 5 minutes on the beach there or whatever. Here's a sign that says I Heart Liquor, a very Miami friendly sign. And this is a nice looking restaurant that they were building at the time. And I'll bet it's all built now, or maybe they've even torn it down and built something else. Who knows?
Temple or something.
Here's a little bit of Miami, the Art Deco architecture, the fancy hotels. There's Alvin's, looks like a surf shop. Some dudes hanging out. And looks like back to the party. So let's see.
I don't think I have any of my videos from back then, but the like after party was upstairs was really crazy.
I don't know if I made it into there, the after parties, but we'll see. So here's like I was saying, Paybase had their logo projected on the building. You can see the Bitcoin logo was there. And I just thought it was especially funny that Paybase had paid more and they had their logo on there still after the Bitcoin logo was down. So it's pretty cool. See what's going on here. I think this was the night. I'm not sure that I have any video or pictures of them, but there was kind of another legendary event here at this party. Pretty sure this is the one where Andreas Antonopoulos got mad at everyone because there was dancing girls at the party.
I think there was a gay-based girls, man. I remember these girls. They were in like latex or something.
I remember they were in body paint or something.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It wasn't latex. It was body paint. Yeah, it was body paint.
Yeah, it was body paint. And they were the Bitcoin dancers or the Paycoin dancers or whatever it was. And yeah, Andreas and
upstairs to the pool and bringing like 10 more people upstairs because there was these like all these girls running around in body paint.
Well, it was fun at the time, but I remember Andreas was very mad the next day on Twitter and had a whole thing about and dancing girls, and people tried to tell him that in Miami, this is their culture. This is part of Miami, like dancing girls, Miami, fun.
Dancing girls in Greece too, man. Go down to a beach in Athens or whatever. You see plenty of naked girls running around and stuff.
That's what I thought, but he was just trying to protect Bitcoin. He was being protective of Bitcoin.
Yes, we need some protection.
And then right here, I want to show you guys this. This was the Paycoin advertisement that they played on all the TVs in the bar, and it looked really professional. And if you just replace the word Paycoin with Coinbase, it would be the same ad. So look, it says pay with dollars, pay with pesos, but now Paycoin, paycoin.com. And this would just go on and on for hours. This really professionally produced commercial, Paycoin. So it was pretty wild, just to show you what you can buy with sponsorship money. The entire convention was for sale. So Paybase bought it.
Yeah, the year before, BitPay was the big sponsor, I think. All right, man, we better wrap this up pretty soon here. I got to get going.
Wrap it up. We got more photos.
All right, what you got?
There's the naked cowboy. It's pretty good. People can see right there on the left here. This is the naked cowboy, usually in New York City, hanging out in Miami. There's the conference there, another logo. There's Mike and Tim with the carvings from Africa. Very cool. African Bitcoiners.
Yeah, go. Yeah, I still talk to him, man. I was talking to him a couple weeks ago, but wow, I haven't seen him in a long time.
Going back. I remember they eventually they had little bracelets and stuff that were made in Africa that said Bitcoin. It's very cool. So this is
New Africa radio project still. Like I was hosting it for him for like a couple of years, but it was such a mess to work with them. But they're really good guys.
And yep. And then here's the Rooftop Terrace that I was not allowed to go to. They said, sir, you drank too much. You cannot go on the roof. So I was like, okay, whatever. And then the next day we went back to the convention. Here's the outdoor of the Fillmore, where the convention was held. A very nice concert venue. This guy says, Mad Bitcoins, you have an awesome brand. It's pretty nice. Here's Bitwage, shout out for the conference flyer, or for letting me in there. And then there's Lazy Coins, shout out to my sponsor, even if they're not around. And there's that Fillmore again. T-shirt girls. Here's the Paybase flyer. Look at the professional flyer they had done. There's the
t-shirt girls, but no.
It's better with the girls. But there's the flyer. Learn more at paybase.com. This was pretty neat. I kind of want to show this. The party we went to, or whatever, the club that night, was this really awesome club. Look how nice it was on the inside. But to get into this club, let's see if I have the pictures. No. Where are they? They're not in order. Okay, here it is. To get into this club, you had to go through, I see this little camper here. They were cooking food out front like it was a camper. Then they had a secret door that went through like the refrigerator or something, and you were in the club. So it was really cool, like a really cool concert, like a concept club. Normally I'm not into this, but this one really it went up a notch. Mike, were you there that night? Did you see this club?
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I remember I was only there briefly and we were already pretty trashed. We ended up going someplace on the beach after that, but man, it's all pretty hazy. Seems like 10 years ago, but I guess it was only 6 or 7, 5 or 6.
That's why it's good to get these shows on the record while we still remember anything at all. And of course, I think these pictures just help a lot because I use the pictures to jog my memory, and that comes back.
Did I say Apple Pay? I didn't know there was Apple Pay then.
It does say Apple Pay, and I think it was one of the very first places I'd seen Apple Pay. So I took a picture of it, probably tweeted about it. That's my way. But yeah, this was very much a competitor for Bitcoin, and still is today. Works very well, Apple Pay. This is like they're talking about. See, this lady, she liked the Bitcoin dancers. She said they were not offensive or oppressive, but that was just the beginning. Here was a cool sign they had. Kind of inappropriate, but it's backwards. So here's that club again. Of course, my iPhone didn't capture the best pictures, but it just looked so cool inside. And to get in there, you had to go through this like refrigerator door, like it was a restaurant. Like it was just great.
I think you're supposed to hold the camera still when you take the pictures. That's the problem.
Next time, hold it still.
Oh man, it's so cool. Click, click, click.
Here's another classic. Airbits was running a scavenger hunt. You could go find the Bitcoin with Airbits, and they'd hidden 400 MBTC. That's probably a lot now. And here's this is probably just more of the shots that I used to make the Mad Bitcoins montage. Just giving you an idea. Oh, there's Roger. There he is. That's a cool shot. So like I was telling Mike, there's when I got to meet Roger Ver. You can see the long pole and the iPad on a stick there. That was Roger Ver at the time. So pretty cool. Legendary, epic Bitcoiner right there. It was very cool to meet him, even on the phone thing. So very cool to meet Roger. I think you've seen most of these shots already. In the other shot, this was a really cool piano they had backstage in the rehearsal room, so normal people wouldn't have gotten in there. This is from Burning Man. It says "Believe" on the top, and it has the spaceship UFO guy, and it was just a really fantastically decorated piano that someone had made with Burning Man art. So it's pretty cool. I never would have gotten to see that because I shouldn't be in any special back rooms or anything like that, but I was. And there's Radiohead perform there. There's Mad Bitcoins. Good. I got to pose in front of these walls more. It looks so good every time. And then there's this lady. She would go around, take pictures with people, and do thumbs up. So it was very cool to see her and to get to meet her. It's a nice lady. And there's a Lambo right there. You could rent them right down the street in Miami.
I had one.
Pretty cool. And then there I am at the beach, my Lazy Coin shirt. Right after the conference ended, I didn't have any responsibilities. I wasn't there for work. So I'd done all my interviews. I'd done really good. And I went immediately to the beach. I was like, forget it. Going to the beach. Forget you guys. So
Very cool.
Pretty cool time. It was nice to go to the Miami Bitcoin Conference. I hope to go to other Bitcoin conferences soon. Mike, any other last closing memories? What did you think about the con when you got home? How was it? What was the experience?
We actually spent like a month and a half there or something. I think after we went to the conference, we went to the Florida Keys, and they have a problem in Florida where there's these python snakes or something. And I'm pretty sure we went snake hunting after this, but I don't know if I'm confusing that with a different trip or not. But yeah, we were down there in Miami for like a month or a month and a half, and it was great. It was a lot of fun. I think you caught the conference some of the most empty times. I remember there being a lot more people there, especially at some of the parties. There was certainly thousands of people on the rooftops and stuff. So definitely most things always fun. I've gone almost every year. Yeah.
So everybody let us know, what are your thoughts about the Miami conference? What was your first Bitcoin conference? Do you like seeing shows like this? Do you want to see more Bitcoin conferences in the future? Let us know in the chat and in the comments down below. Even if it's a couple days later, we'll still check. We'll look at this. Be sure to give us a thumbs up and subscribe down below if you haven't already. I think that's going to be about it for this conference show. All good, Mike?
Fun, man. Yeah, let's try to do this again sometime. And yeah, I guess we had more to talk about from Miami than I remember.
See, I think the photos, the videos, it really takes you back. If you guys are interested in the Miami conference, check below. I've got a playlist of Mad Bitcoins videos if you want to watch the interviews that I did. They're pretty cool. They're pretty old now. And
fire went out. It's getting too cold over here, man. But hey, thanks for having me, Thomas. Have a great day.
Thanks so much for joining us. Until next time, bye-bye.